Hi, this is Buddy Cianci, and welcome to 630WPRO.com. Be sure to check out all of our exhibits on the Buddy Cianci page. And now enjoy this podcast of a recent interview. Jack Parlon, if you've been following the Central Falls situation, I interviewed Judge Flanders on the show a couple of times, and plus he's going to be my guest on the news, on the record with Buddy Cianci, which is on Channel 6 at 7 a.m. Saturday and Sunday morning. You can see him. He did a pretty good interview, so it's worth seeing if you're interested in Central Falls, in the whole state of Rhode Island. But as you know, there's a bankruptcy that's been filed, that the contracts have been voided, that he offered half the pensions to the pensioners, just about half, and then he's got to run the city, and he's trying to stabilize it and give it some predictability. But we wanted to have on the show the other side of the story, if I could deem it that way. Public safety retirees told to fight this pension situation and the benefit cuts. And a National Police Union representative told about 60 angry retired city police and firefighters Tuesday night that they should go to court and fight what he called an unconscionable decision by the state receiver to cut their pensions and health coverage. And that man is Jack Parlon, and he's with us today. Thanks for being with us, Mr. Parlon.
Oh, thank you, buddy.
Thank you.
My pleasure. Call me Jack, please.
Jack, yes, sir, Jack. First of all, the Providence pamphlet here. The Journal called you a lawyer. God forbid you want to be called a lawyer. That's a dirty word, right? So I think you have a right of action against them, right? But for defamation of character, you got a defamation of character. They called you a lawyer. Yeah. But anyway, you're a national organizer, or for the FOP, or what's your position?
No, actually, buddy, I work for the National Fraternal Police as a labor specialist.
Okay. And now you've been sent by the National Fraternal Order of Police to help out the situation here?
No, actually, I'm hired. I'm contracted by several units, several departments in Rhode Island and throughout the New England area, and we do their labor and legal services for them.
Oh, but in other words, you're kind of like an advisor, so to speak.
Yeah.
Consultant, and then they have the lawyers do the contracts, et cetera.
Well, we do the contract bargaining, but the lawyers do most of the legal.
Yeah, okay.
Wrangling.
Now, tell me, you said something that kind of piqued my curiosity. You said we're going to go to court and we're going to fight. What grounds do you think you have to fight the bankruptcy judge, or fight not the bankruptcy judge because he'll listen to you, but to fight the receiver? He offered you, your pensioners, half the pension, just about whatever it was. There was a lot of nuances to it, but then again, he also is reducing, I guess, the health care benefits, or he's asking them to contribute. And that, when he filed bankruptcy, because the police and fire didn't take it, and when he filed bankruptcy, Jack, all those things happened immediately.
Yeah.
The contracts were voided, and
Yeah, we understand that. What we're concerned about here is that there's been no plan. We've been negotiating in Central Falls for quite some time now, and the police department has made a myriad of concessions, buddy. Without any plan for, we've been through two receivers already. Yeah. There's been no plan from the city of how to get out of this thing. We've been asking for their positions. They haven't presented at all. We've asked for concessions. Mm-hmm. When we met with the retirees, I looked around the room. There was 50 plus retirees or widows there. Mm-hmm. These pensions are
they're small. They're not big $100,000 pensions. They're $30,000, $25,000.
They're less than $30,000. The majority of them. And to slash those pensions by 50%. And don't forget, the Social Security Windfall Act prohibits or reduces us from collecting Social Security.
Right.
So that a lot of these pensioners are living on that pension alone.
But you said someone should go to jail. Who did you mean by that?
Well, in my frustration, let me give you a little background here.
Yeah.
This didn't happen overnight. This has been going on for years.
Right.
And the pensions weren't being funded, mm-hmm. And it's been going on for several years. Someone has to be held accountable for that. Mm-hmm. To make an arbitrary or unilateral cut to the people that are depending on these pensions for food and shelter is 50% cut is just unconscionable. I mean, how do you do that? Where do they go? How do they pay their mortgages or their rents? How do they feed themselves? You know where they're going to end up? They're going to end up on welfare, and we're going to pay for it anyway. So I think that if if we got to this point, if it's this drastic, where is the accountability here? Who's responsible for putting us in this position? It didn't happen in a week. It happened over years. And there is somebody here, a group of people that are responsible. And I think somewhere there should be a federal grand jury sitting looking at this. There were grants that came through here, federal grants that came through here that obviously were misappropriated. And someone should be looking at who's
but the federal money couldn't have been used to supply cash to the pension system.
The federal money had to be available to supply cash to wherever it went into the city.
Well,
and if that money, and someone should look and see if that money was misappropriated.
Well, what federal grants do you know of that can supply a pension system with fuel?
No, the federal grants don't supply.
That's what I'm saying. To stay focused here, Jack. Before you do that, I mean, I think there already is a grand jury sitting on collateral matters concerning the mayor and other matters there. But isn't the immediate goal that you have to focus on making your case before the bankruptcy court to make the argument that you're making here? There is a theory in law that says that people who have contracts, and by the way, I recommend that you watch Judge Flanders and me at 7 a.m. on Saturday morning or Sunday morning, or you can maybe get it on the web, but
Sure.
on Channel 6, because he spends a whole half hour talking about what his strategy is. Mm-hmm. And so I thought you had to watch it. But anyway, I asked him. He said that he feels badly about it all, but he did offer half that weren't taken, and so he had no choice because there's no money there. And
Mm-hmm.
he says the only way that he can put the city back on even keel is to make the cuts and streamline it and then give it some kind of predictability. Now, there's also this area of the law, Jack, is really unsettled. You know, but if you were a state pensioner, there's a case going through the system now, and it's going to be appealed to the Supreme Court no matter who wins it. That to describe and define exactly what a pensioner is and when it's vested and is it a contract right.
Yeah.
Now, in the state court, in the state situation, that is not, you know, it's a little different from the city, because didn't you get ordinances passed and also signed contracts collective bargainingly in a collective bargaining fashion with the city of Central Falls?
Mm-hmm.
So that would be distinguished from the case that's there now. And by the way, Flanders recognizes that. He recognizes that there are two, and the case law. I think, in other words, I think he recognizes, and I'm not speaking for him, but from what I read between the lines, he recognizes that that you have a stronger case than the state workers would have because you had a contract. But then again, there's another theory in the law: if the city doesn't have the money to pay it, and they're already overtaxed, then there has to be some haircuts made. That's
we agree that there has to be some cuts made. Of course, there does.
Mm-hmm.
What we're concerned about is the fallout here. When did this start to take place? Why are we acting now? Why wasn't this corrected beforehand? We are where we are now, buddy. There's no question about it.
Because they ran out of money.
But,
they didn't
well,
run out of money before.
Yeah. But I understand that. But of course they ran out of money.
Mm-hmm.
But this was a process. They didn't run out of money yesterday. They knew that these pensions weren't being funded for years.
That's why the mayor went to receivership.
Yeah, but it's happened over a series of years, and someone should have been held accountable. The employees should have been notified that these things were happening, and they weren't. They weren't notified.
But having let's agree. I'm going to agree with you on all that. Okay.
Okay.
But
good.
how do you immediately solve the problem at hand?
Well,
what you're talking about is solving for the future.
It's going to be litigated. It's going to be litigated, of course, and that's where we are now. We're in bankruptcy court. That's where the problem.
What is your theory of recovery?
I don't have a theory of recovery. What I'm concerned about right now is what more concessions we're going to have. What pain is going to be inflicted upon us and the retirees to get the ship right.
Now, you represent the union.
Concern.
You don't represent the retirees, Jack. You represent
correct.
The union,
That's
right?
correct.
I mean,
That's
you'd give a helping hand to the retirees, absolutely.
Yes.
But you really represent the police union. I would not be surprised after my interview with interviewing him last night. I wouldn't be surprised if you saw more layoffs in the police and fire and throughout the city of Central Falls.
At this point, buddy, to be honest with you, I don't know what's going to happen.
See, here's the problem. The bankruptcy judge, he can't dissolve Central Falls. And usually in a business situation, if this were a company, it would be morta, dead, and they wouldn't. No one would revive it because it would go right to a Chapter 7, and they would just put it to bed and forget about it, pay whatever they could pay in the order of priorities, and then just dissolve the company. But they can't do that because it's a product of the legislature. It is a municipality. It's a city. And now they can look to merge it. They can look to take some other action by streamlining, by combining services, by regionalizing, all that kind of stuff. But then again, you have to negotiate a contract that the city of Central Falls can afford. And I don't know if the judge is going to make that decision based on what the receiver recommends.
Exactly. Well, it's not based on what the receiver recommends. It's going to be based on what case we put forward. Yeah. Also, I mean, there's two sides to this.
Yeah, so no question about it.
We have a group of attorneys that are going to go in there and they're going to put forth our position on it. Yeah. So whatever happens. Eventually, the judge will make a decision.
Look,
and we'll live with it.
He's got $16 million of revenue to deal with, but you guys are spending, not you guys, but the city is spending $21 million, and that's the problem. And,
buddy, we all realize the problem here. What we want to get to is a
and
solution.
it'll be how many loaves of bread can you make? All right, Jack, thanks so much for being with us this afternoon. Good luck to you, and our hearts go out to the retirees there because it's a really sad situation.
Okay, thanks, buddy.
Thanks for being with. Yep, yes, sir.